Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers reveal that despite Sasha Gilmore Corbin's belief that Michael Corinthos is a great father, she's adamant about raising their daughter independently. Sasha has seen firsthand how much Michael already adores Daisy, but that hasn't changed her stance. At this point in the story, Michael doesn't have any custody rights when it comes to Daisy. In fact, Michael's name isn't even on the birth certificate since that's the way Sasha wants it. We get that Michael's trying to be a good guy and respect what Sasha thinks is best, but what about what he wants? Is Sasha's single mother push really fair to Michael? Many GH fans are asking if Sasha's wrong to deny Michael the full daddy experience with Daisy. Michael would obviously prefer to co-parent with Sasha and be a real dad to their baby girl. Of course, it's understandable that Sasha would have some concerns about Daisy's connection to the Courtemain and Corinthos families. The messy QS can be ruthless while the Corinthos name comes with a mob tie that's undeniably dangerous. The problem is Sasha is living under the Courtemain roof and previously had Sonny Corinthos' right-hand man, Jason Morgan, posing as the fake father of her child. Plus, the public knows about Daisy's paternity by now, so it's not like any enemies are going to be deterred anyway. Daisy may not have the last name Courtemain or Corinthos, but she's linked to both clans regardless. In other words, Sasha's reasoning has never made much sense. Sometimes it feels like GH writers weren't entirely sure of how to make this story work. Whatever the case, Sasha has a wonderful bond with Michael and knows he's an excellent dad to Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos. Michael is more than willing to step up for his third kid, so it doesn't make sense to deny Daisy the full daddy experience either. Sasha insisted that Daisy would know Michael as her father, but that's not the same as having a hands-on dad who's actively involved in her life. It just seems like letting Michael be fully in the picture would work out well for all parties involved. Bottom line, Michael helped create this little one and should get a say in where things go from here. Will there come a point when Michael asks for more? Could Michael and Sasha's eventual romantic reunion push them toward building a united family? General Hospital spoilers hint that some Daisy-related curveballs are still to come, so stay tuned for updates on any big news ahead. General Hospital spoilers tease Port Charles is swirling with family drama, as Nina Reeves urges Carly Spencer to convince Michael Corinthos to mend fences with Willow Corinthos, pushing for a generous visitation schedule for Willow with their children. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Nina's plea aims to isolate Drew Courtemain, whose engagement to Willow has Michael fuming, especially after Drew's manipulations, scarring Wiley with false abandonment claims. Michael's newfound bitterness, sparked by Willow's wedding plans, makes him defensive, complicating Carly's efforts to sway him. Will Carly tolerate Nina's pressure and convince Michael to play nice, or will their clash derail the plan to cut Drew out? Nina's push meets Michael's resistance. Nina is desperate to support Willow after her crushing custody loss and aware of her own fling with Drew, has begun to press Carly to get Michael to agree to a fair visitation deal and rush back to court to formalize it. Nina sees this as a way to weaken Drew's hold, but Michael's anger, fueled by Willow's choice to marry Drew, has him likely to start digging in. His softened stance days ago, pitying Willow's heartbreak, could quickly turn into resentment. If Carly tries to persuade him, will Michael's bitterness block her? Or can she appeal to his love for his kids? GH spoilers leak Carly's tough sell amid Nina's pressure. Carly is protective of Michael and wary of Drew's schemes. She shares Nina's goal to sideline him, but could bristle at her pushing, given their rocky history. Michael's defensiveness, clashing with Carly's desire for family peace sans Drew, makes her task daunting, especially as she navigates her own bond with her grandchildren. If Nina's insistence grates on Carly, she might resist just to spite her, risking Willow's chance at visitation. A strategic move like enlisting Jason Morgan to soften Michael could work, but will Carly stomach Nina's meddling long enough to pull it off? A plan to isolate Drew or a family feud? If Carly sways Michael to offer Willow generous visitation, it could undermine Drew, whose grip on Willow relies on her dependence. Still, Michael's hurt might lead to a stingy deal instead, pushing Willow closer to his slimy uncle. Nina's fragile bond with Willow hangs in the balance, and Carly's tolerance for her could snap, igniting a feud. Can Carly convince Michael to play nice with Willow as a means to cut Drew out of their family altogether and keep him away from the children? Or will Nina's push and Michael's bitterness spark a rift that keeps Drew in control? Stay tuned for more GH news and spoilers to find out. General Hospital spoilers are in for Thursday, June 26, 2025. Fans can expect Marco Rios to demand answers from Natalia Ramirez. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Ezra Boyle gets orders from Jen Sidwell. Plus, Carly Spencer panics over Sonny Corinthos' bombshell. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Sonny Corinthos' warning. Let's start off with Sonny, who has to drop a bomb on Carly. Even though they are no longer married, they do have family together and a friendship. The mob boss refused Sidwell's offer, and that means blood is probably going to be shed soon. In the meantime, Sonny gives Carly an update. That is when the blonde completely freaks out, saying that their family could really be in danger. Read more. Find out what happened on the last episode of JH. Good thing that Carly is dating Jack Brennan. I wonder if in a weird twist, Sonny and Brennan might have to work together to defeat a bigger threat. Dante Falconeri's judgment over with Dante Falconeri. He has another confrontation with Jason Morgan. The unraveling detective claims that Jason let his kid run wild because he couldn't be bothered as a parent. Well, Dante, your kid was the one who nearly died from guzzling too much booze, so I wouldn't be throwing stones. Moving forward, Jason ends up handling it by giving Dante a new perspective. In addition to Carly's concerning conversation with Sonny, General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, June 26, 2025, will also focus on Jason giving Dante a new perspective. Meanwhile, Lulu has advice for Lucas. Next on General Hospital, as usual, Sonny is 2 seconds away from disaster. Sidwell has already told him he wants to rid Port Charles of Sonny's influence. And you know he's going to do anything to make that happen. Who knows, he may already have. Sonny could be this close to losing his peers depending on how people vote. Plus, ADA Turner wants to bring the coffee importer down the legal way, and is attempting to leverage Natalia into turning in damning evidence against the mobster. Plus, Sonny still hasn't figured out who planted the explosive device in his penthouse. It can't come as a shock to find Carly chatting with Sonny about his legal and illegal methods and everything else that's swirling around them. This includes the Michael versus Willow situation. Needless to say, look for this conversation with Sonny to leave Carly concerned. Join the Soap Hub community and make your opinion matter. Comment elsewhere in Port Charles. Meanwhile, Jason gives Dante a new perspective. Hopefully it's not on parenting. But something tells us it does have something to do with how Dante's life blew up recently. Is this chat about dealing with Gio? Or maybe how he's worried about Sonny? In addition, Lulu has advice for Lucas. But that might not be the only thing going on with Lulu. When Brooke Lynn doesn't like what she sees, does she spot Lulu talking to Gio all friendly like? After all, Gio has had it out with Lulu, and they departed the conversation in a less icy manner than we would have thought. Finally, Marco makes a delivery. Again, this might have something to do with his new client, namely Brooke Lynn Quartermain. Have her revenge tactics paid off? Was she right to hire Marco to come up with the goods that will serve as a massive Lulu payback? Got a sizzling fan theory? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. At Sonny's house, Sonny updated Jason about running into ADA Turner at softball practice. Sonny said that little did she know that her star witness, Natalia, was about to disappear. Jason informed Sonny that the house was set up and a full team of bodyguards was ready for Natalia in Belize. Now, Sonny just had to wait for Natalia to bring him the incriminating financial records, and he would send her off. Jason was worried Natalia might double-cross Sonny and questioned whether or not she had already told Sidwell everything she knew. He felt it was possible, but she couldn't stand him, and Sidwell was not going to stop coming after him regardless. Sonny said there was too much uncertainty with Sidwell to make a deal with him, and now they had to prepare for the blowback. After leaving Sidwell at the Metro Court, Lucy arrived with a basket of oranges to have a tete-a-tete regarding selling the piers. When Jason left, he got a phone call from Nina, who asked him to meet her at the Metro Court. Lucy made her pitch for Sunny to reconsider Sidwell's offer, and asked what she had to do to make the deal happen. Sunny gently let her know she should not be involved in this situation, and they basically agreed to disagree about how they viewed Sidwell. At the Metro Court Courtyard restaurant, Nina was still trying to convince Carly to talk Michael into letting Willow have generous visitation with the kids ASAP. Carly reminded her she had plenty of chances to sway Willow away from Drew, and nothing had worked so far. Nina again detailed her deluded plan she felt would help Willow leave Drew, but Carly told her she was just dreaming. Drew was still calling the shots, and there was no way he would let Willow agree to an arrangement that didn't include him. Nina began to desperately shift more and more responsibility to Carly to solve the problem. Carly finally told her she would not be able to stop Willow from marrying Drew, and no one could. She told Nina she would have to figure out another way to stop her daughter from marrying Drew and walked off. Nina called Jason when he was at Sunny's house and asked him to meet her. When he arrived, she told him Carly turned down helping with her plan to get Willow away from Drew, so she desperately turned to him. As she was sharing her plan, Willow, who arrived after arguing with Michael at the Q mansion, walked up and asked what was going on. She accused Jason of being sent by Michael to intimidate her and Nina. He tried to tell her she was wrong, but she interrupted and said he was wrong as well as wrong about his brother, Drew. She was going to marry Drew and get her kids back. Jason told her it was her choice if that is what she wanted to do. Sidwell invited Lucy to lunch. She was a little surprised to find out he also invited Marco, who showed up when Sidwell was telling her about his most beloved house in Dubai. Sidwell shared that Sunny denied his offer to buy the piers, but Lucy felt she may have a chance to still make the sale happen. She offered to speak to Sunny to try to get him to reconsider and left. Sidwell expressed the hope that Lucy would succeed, so he would not have to resort to more drastic measures. When Marco reacted to his comment negatively, he quickly said he was kidding. However, Marco felt Sunny wouldn't be an impediment much longer. Sidwell told Marco he would prefer not to get his hands dirty taking care of Sunny, but so be it if it ends up being his only option. He took notice of Jason, Nina, and Willow as he was talking. In the Q Mansion solarium, Willow told Michael she and Drew were getting married, and he immediately recognized it was the same legal tactic they had used to get Wiley away from Nellie. She was very deliberate in saying she loved Drew and wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. Returning her spirit of transparency, Michael was completely transparent with her when he said, "If you marry Drew, I will make sure that you never see our kids again." Willow stood firm in her belief that marrying Drew would, at least, get her partial custody. Michael told her he had the power of custody and would use it to protect his children. She, of course, felt they did not have to be protected from her. "They do, as long as they are with you," Michael responded. He said her relationship with Drew wasn't healthy for her, and definitely not healthy for their kids. Having seemingly slipped further into her delusional thinking, and forgetting her own generous visitation plan she had planned for Michael when she thought she was going to win, Willow reacted angrily. Both had tears starting to well in their eyes when she accused Michael of trying to manipulate her, and being afraid of her winning. Further, she said when she does win, she will try to have more compassion for him than he has had for her. Michael reiterated he had tried to be compassionate, but Willow strongly disagreed. When she brought up flying to Germany and his refusal to see her, he said no one told him she was there and said there must have been some kind of mistake because it never happened. She did not believe him and went so far as to accuse him of punishing her for falling in love with another man. Growing angrier, he said he would never use his children to punish her, but he would protect them from their mother's fiancé, who was a destructive, manipulative fraud. She insisted Drew was none of those things, and she fell in love with him because he respected her enough to tell her the truth. Michael told her they were both liars. "He lies to you and you lie to yourself." Fully indignant, she said there were no secrets between them. Drew let her in and treated her like an equal. Tears streaming down his face, Michael finally relented, telling her he would not stop her from living in your warped little fantasy life with Drew. "But I will stop you from dragging my kids into it, and that is a promise." Undeterred, Willow told him she knew he was used to getting his way, but it wasn't going to happen this time. Before she left, she defiantly said she was going to marry Drew and was going to get her children back. After talking with Nina, Carly visited Michael to tell him about her conversation. She shared Nina's idea about visitation without Drew as if she thought it might work. Michael filled Carly in on his conversation with Willow, and felt like she was going to continue to refuse to see the truth. He said he plans to ask Diane to delay the visitation hearing as long as possible and, once there was a hearing, Willow would get nothing. He felt keeping the kids from her would break his heart every day. But he could not allow Drew to be a part of their lives. Carly said she understood the position Michael was in because she'd been where he was. She was convinced keeping him from AJ was the right thing and told him to keep in mind he didn't thank her for that decision, and your kids might not thank him either. They may very well resent you for it, she cautioned. He said he knew, but had to do it anyway and would live with the consequences. In the lobby of Drew's congressional office, Tracy threw a big wrench in Martin and Drew's plans, and let the press and news viewers know exactly what she thought about Drew, detailing just a few of his egregious actions. Martin told Brooklyn she should take her granny, who looked very pleased with herself, home because she was either having a stroke or sundowning. Tracy addressed Martin directly, saying she was no fool and if anyone needed to have their mental acuity questioned, it was him for thinking she would ever submit to his ploy to publicly humiliate her. At the same time, Kai told Drew he had a phone call as a ruse to get him away from Tracy and the press. Tracy and Martin were having an epic battle of words in front of the press when Cody walked up. When Martin again tried to accuse her of drugging Drew, she said he planted the drug in her car to frame her. Cody interrupted to say it wasn't true. Thinking Cody was going to bust Tracy, Martin brought him to the podium to speak. Cody told everyone he had to treat Hades, one of their horses, before the Hampton Classic. His truck wasn't working that day, and he had to borrow Tracy's car to pick up supplies and ketamine for Hades' procedure. Cody said he must have left a vial in the car when he did, and concluded Drew didn't frame Tracy, and Tracy did not drug Drew. Martin accused him of lying for his employer, but Cody said he hadn't come forward because he wasn't fully aware of what was going on, and hadn't asked for permission to use Tracy's car in the first place. Martin continued to insist Cody was not telling the truth. Martin angrily reached for a piece of evidence Tracy was holding and fell face first off the podium, flat to the floor. Chase and Kai helped Martin up. Drew went to end the press conference, but Tracy interjected that there was something he might want to say to the good people of Port Charles. Drew had to admit Tracy was exonerated and pretended to be relieved. He vowed he would continue to look for the real culprit. After the press left, Chase questioned Cody, suspecting he was not telling the truth. Brooklyn also acted suspicious when she was talking to Tracy. Tracy admitted she got Cody to lie, and it was Michael's idea. Back in his office, Drew admonished Martin for being too focused on his revenge on Tracy, and missed that she could humiliate them. As Martin was leaving to get his back checked at the hospital, Drew let him know he would only be getting his retainer and nothing more. Drew was reeling as Kai tried to make him feel better. He said he was worried it would look bad for Willow's custody hearing, and he failed her as well as his constituents. Drew lamented that he could be the reason Willow would lose her family, and said everyone was against them. Not even lasting a full day, a more naive than thought Kai fell for Drew's act and told him there was something he should know. He told him about Curtis's plan to find Jacinda and have her lie about Drew. Portia continued to confront Jordan at the Metro court pool. Jordan suggested she have this conversation with her husband, but Portia did not see him as the problem. Isaiah returned from his phone call with drinks to find Portia and Jordan arguing. He stood at a distance and watched. Despite her accusation, Jordan reminded Portia that she and Curtis were still family and friends. She accused her of projecting, saying everything Portia had just described is exactly what she had done to chip away at her marriage to Curtis years ago. When Portia incredulously asked if it was payback, Jordan told her to get a grip, and it wasn't on her if she and Curtis were having problems. Portia told her she was fawning all over her husband, and she needed to find some dignity. Finally, Jordan told her to be a woman and step up. If her marriage was on the rocks, she only had herself to blame. Portia picked up a glass and threw the drink on Jordan. Isaiah finally intervened, telling Portia he thought she should go with him. She warned Jordan to stay out of her marriage and walked off with him. Then she got a text from Curtis and left. Jordan thanked Isaiah for intervening. She acted surprised that Portia reacted the way she did, but Isaiah asked her if she seriously thought Portia had nothing to worry about. He said it wasn't any of his business, but he could see now Sidwell wasn't their only problem, Curtis was too. She said that wasn't true, but he said deep down she knew it was, and if not, she was in for a rude awakening. At the gallery, Curtis tried to deny that Portia was in trouble, but Trina told him what Kai overheard at the house. She pleaded with him to tell her what was really going on. Curtis told her Portia was in a tough position with negative consequences, and maintained the less she knew, the better. Trina let him know she could help. He appreciated her concern but did not want her involved because Drew would also target her, and reassured her to trust him. He promised to let her know if things got worse, and warned her not to discuss it with anyone. Curtis was waiting as Portia arrived at her hospital office. She apologized for keeping him waiting, and let him know she was at the pool when he called. He didn't realize they were initially there at the same time, but she let him know she saw him with Jordan and wanted to have a conversation about it. He agreed but said they needed to discuss Trina first, telling her Trina knew she was in trouble because of Drew. They vowed to make sure Trina didn't get caught up in their mess because they feared Trina would find out Portia had doctored Heather Weber's tests and would blame herself. Curtis said Felicia had a lead on Jacinda in Sydney, Australia. They were hopeful their nightmare would be over soon. General Hospital spoilers. Carly faces a new nightmare, Sidwell pushes hard, Jason drops hard truths, and Marco grows wary. Things in Port Charles are spiraling again, and this week's drama promises high-stakes tension, surprising wisdom, and a whole lot of suspicion. Carly's world is turned upside down by a new threat. Sidwell makes a bold and risky demand, Jason's advice cuts to the core, and Marco starts to connect dots, some of which may spell big trouble for more than one character. Fearful face Carly is gripped by fear. Carly Corinthos has weathered more storms than most in Port Charles, but this latest development leaves her shaken in a way fans haven't seen in a long time. Something or someone has made Carly feel genuinely unsafe, and it's clear that this time, she may be up against more than just emotional fallout. Whether it's an ominous message, a threatening figure from her past, or fallout from Jason's recent actions, Carly is clearly on edge. Her usual confidence seems rattled, and she's not eager to admit how deeply this new threat has unnerved her. Sonny may not be in the position to offer support, and with Michael wrapped up in his own issues, Carly feels more alone than ever. It's possible the danger is closer to home than she realizes. One thing's for sure. Carly's instincts are rarely wrong, and this level of fear means something big is brewing. Will she confront the threat head-on, or will she try to manage it in silence, risking even more danger for herself and those she loves? Briefcase Sidwell's pressure ramps up. Meanwhile, Drew Sidwell is not playing games. He wants results and he wants them fast. Whether this is business-related or tied to the growing mess surrounding Jason's past and Carly's future, Sidwell is applying heavy pressure, and it's not going unnoticed. Sidwell's demand isn't just bold, it's borderline reckless. He's pushing for information or action that could unravel delicate plans and put others in harm's way. His no-nonsense attitude has served him well in the past, but in this case it might be a dangerous overstep. Jason, for one, sees the red flags. He warns Sidwell to think carefully before taking things too far, but it's unclear whether Sidwell is in any mood to listen. Whatever he's after, it's clear he's willing to bulldoze through obstacles, even if it costs him allies. The question now is, what exactly is Sidwell after? Is it revenge, power, or something even more personal? Brain Jason offers sharp perspective. Jason Morgan steps in this week with one of his trademark doses of hard-earned wisdom. With all the chaos swirling, Carly's fear, Sidwell's pressure, and Marco's quiet digging, Jason becomes the calm in the storm. His advice isn't sugar-coated. Jason lays it out bluntly. Trust is fragile, secrets don't stay buried, and acting on emotion is a recipe for disaster. He's seen what happens when people let fear and revenge drive their choices, and he doesn't want that cycle repeated. Jason's concern isn't just about preserving peace. It's about protecting the people he cares about, especially Carly. He may not say it out loud, but his actions reveal the depth of his loyalty. But will anyone listen? Or will Jason once again be left cleaning up the mess after everyone else crashes and burns? Magnifying glass tilted left. Marco is watching and wondering. Marco hasn't been in town long, but he's already developing a sharp sense of who's lying, who's hiding, and who's in danger. This week, His suspicions start to crystallize, and what he's beginning to believe could shake things up in a big way. He's been quietly observing the hushed conversations, the carefully avoided questions, and the too coincidental timing of certain events. Something isn't adding up, and Marco's instincts are telling him that people aren't being honest. While Marco hasn't made any bold moves yet, he's definitely keeping mental notes. And as his curiosity grows, he may soon find himself tangled in something much deeper than he expected. The real question is, will Marco blow the whistle on what he knows? Or will he use the information to gain leverage in Port Charles? Coming up, the drama's only getting deeper in Port Charles. Carly's looking over her shoulder, Sidwell's demanding answers, Jason's trying to keep the peace, and Marco's suspicions could soon expose secrets no one is ready to face. As alliances shift and truths teeter on the edge of being exposed, one thing's certain: nothing stays buried forever in this town. Keep watching because the next move could change everything. Drew was reeling as Kai tried to make him feel better. He said he was worried it would look bad for Willow's custody hearing, and he failed her as well as his constituents. Drew lamented that he could be the reason Willow would lose her family, and said everyone was against them. Not even lasting a full day, a more naive than thought Kai fell for Drew's act and told him there was something he should know. He told him about Curtis's plan to find Jacinda and have her lie about Drew. Portia continued to confront Jordan at the Metro Court pool. Jordan suggested she have this conversation with her husband, but Portia did not see him as the problem. Isaiah returned from his phone call with drinks to find Portia and Jordan arguing. He stood at a distance and watched. Despite her accusation, Jordan reminded Portia that she and Curtis were still family and friends. She accused her of projecting, saying everything Portia had just described is exactly what she had done to chip away at her marriage to Curtis years ago. When Portia incredulously asked if it was payback, Jordan told her to get a grip, and it wasn't on her if she and Curtis were having problems. Portia told her she was fawning all over her husband, and she needed to find some dignity. Finally, Jordan told her to be a woman and step up. If her marriage was on the rocks, she only had herself to blame. Portia picked up a glass and threw the drink on Jordan. Isaiah finally intervened, telling Portia he thought she should go with him. She warned Jordan to stay out of her marriage and walked off with him. Then she got a text from Curtis and left. Jordan thanked Isaiah for intervening. She acted surprised that Portia reacted the way she did, but Isaiah asked her if she seriously thought Portia had nothing to worry about. He said it wasn't any of his business, but he could see now Sidwell wasn't their only problem, Curtis was too. She said that wasn't true, but he said deep down she knew it was, and if not, she was in for a rude awakening. At the gallery, Curtis tried to deny that Portia was in trouble, but Trina told him what Kai overheard at the house. She pleaded with him to tell her what was really going on. Curtis told her Portia was in a tough position with negative consequences, and maintained the less she knew, the better. Trina let him know she could help. He appreciated her concern but did not want her involved because Drew would also target her, and reassured her to trust him. He promised to let her know if things got worse, and warned her not to discuss it with anyone. Curtis was waiting as Portia arrived at her hospital office. She apologized for keeping him waiting, and let him know she was at the pool when he called. He didn't realize they were initially there at the same time, but she let him know she saw him with Jordan and wanted to have a conversation about it. He agreed but said they needed to discuss Trina first, telling her Trina knew she was in trouble because of Drew. They vowed to make sure Trina didn't get caught up in their mess because they feared Trina would find out Portia had doctored Heather Weber's tests and would blame herself. Curtis said Felicia had a lead on Jacinda in Sydney, Australia. They were hopeful their nightmare would be over soon.